Good morning. Or maybe I should say good very early morning, right? If you've ever found yourself wide awake between 3 and 5 a.m., staring at the ceiling, heart quietly pounding, mind spinning with thoughts you didn't invite, you are not alone. And let me start by saying this. You are not broken. You're not failing at rest. You're not weak or dramatic or too sensitive. You are actually being given an invitation. Waking up at that hour is not just biology. It's not just the coffee you had too late or the stress you forgot to breathe through. It's your body, and more deeply your spirit, trying to get your attention. That window between 3 and 5 a.m. is when our defenses are down. It's when the noise of the world goes quiet and the whisper of our truth gets louder. It's when unresolved emotions, especially grief, fear, guilt, and sadness, tend to rise. And often we shove those things into the corners of our day, but at night, they come knocking. Let's get something clear right off the bat. If you're waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. regularly, it is not just a coincidence. It's not just because you drank water late, or you're getting older, or your mattress isn't quite right. Sure, those things play a part. But if this is happening often, especially during emotionally intense seasons of life, it's time to pay attention. This time of night is known across different wisdom traditions, cultures, and even energetic practices as the hour of the soul. In Chinese medicine, for example, 3 to 5 a.m. is associated with the lungs, which energetically carry grief and emotional heaviness. And whether or not you follow that path, there's something almost universally recognized here, that our emotions live in the body, and the body speaks when the mind is quiet. Think about it. 3 a.m. is the hour when the world is silent. There are no emails pinging, no demands pulling you out of yourself. Your to-do list isn't front and center. This is when your deepest self finally has room to whisper, hey, there's something we need to feel. If you're waking up at that hour, you're not being interrupted. You're being invited to look at the worry you pushed aside during the day because you were too busy holding it together. Invited to honor grief that's been sitting in your chest, waiting for breath. Invited to tune into what your inner world has been trying to say, but hasn't had the space to say out loud. It's like your body and spirit are tapping you on the shoulder, not to scare you, but to remind you there's something sacred here. Let's not miss it. And look, I know 3 a.m. is not exactly the hour you feel most wise or clear-headed, but that doesn't mean it's not real. In fact, sometimes our most honest truths show up in the dark because the daytime version of us is too busy performing, producing, or pleasing to hear them. This isn't about being spiritual or perfect or hyper-aware. This is about being human. It's about honoring that the system of you is intelligent, that your soul is not trying to sabotage your sleep. It's trying to bring you back into alignment. So the next time it happens, instead of saying, oh, why is this happening again? Try saying, okay, I'm listening. What do you need me to know? Because waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. isn't random. It's a message. And the message is, you're ready to listen. There's something profoundly honest about the hours between 3 and 5 a.m. It's when the world goes still and the masks we wear during the day begin to slip off. There are no meetings to rush to, no small talk to make, no roles to play. Just you, your breath, and what's really going on beneath the surface. And here's the truth many of us don't say out loud. Most of us are carrying emotional weight that doesn't get expressed in daylight. Grief, we've learned to package up in productivity. Anxiety, we've disguised as control. Sadness, we've buried under smiling. These aren't signs of failure. They're signs of being human in a world that doesn't always make space for feeling. During the day, we're often too busy surviving to slow down and feel. We move to our routines with practiced focus, staying on schedule, answering emails, showing up, holding it all together. That when the noise fades and the distractions fall away, the emotions we've been postponing finally find their way to us. That 3 to 5 a.m. window becomes a kind of emotional reveal. The worry that was lurking quietly in your gut during your Zoom meeting, now it has space to rise. The grief you tucked away after that loss, be it a person, a relationship, a dream, that grief hasn't vanished. It's simply been waiting for a quiet moment to ask for your attention. And there's no shame in that. You are not weak because you feel things deeply. You are not broken because sadness shows up at your bedside in the middle of the night. That's actually emotional truth showing up without a filter. That's your nervous system saying, can we please deal with this now when no one is watching? Sometimes it's old grief, the kind we thought we should be over by now. Other times it's subtle, an unmet need, a fear we haven't named, or an emotion we were taught to ignore because it made other people uncomfortable. That this is important. The presence of grief or emotional weight in the early morning hours isn't a punishment. It's an opening. It's your system choosing the only time it knows you'll be still enough to feel it. Not because it wants to disrupt you, but because it wants to free you. So when you find yourself awake again, heart heavy and unsure why, ask gently, what have I been carrying without acknowledgement? What emotion have I been too tired or too scared to feel? Is there a part of me that needs comfort more than critique? Let this moment be a bridge, not a breakdown. Let it be a soft spotlight on the parts of you still in need of tenderness. You don't have to fix everything at 3:27 a.m. You just have to feel what's real, because the emotions that wake you, they're not the enemy. They're the invitation to become whole. Let's be honest. When we wake up at 3:22 a.m., our first instinct is rarely grace. It's usually frustration, a sigh, a roll of the eyes, a mental checklist of how tired we'll be tomorrow, how we should be sleeping, how we can't afford another restless night. And look, that reaction is valid. You're human, you're tired, you just want rest. But what if instead of immediately judging that moment, you paused just for a second and wondered, what if this moment isn't a mistake? What if this isn't an interruption? What if this is an invitation? See, between 3 and 5 a.m., the world is quiet in a way it rarely is during the day. There's no pressure to perform, no need to smile, answer emails, or be on. It's just you and the silence, just you and the breath, just you and whatever you've been carrying that hasn't had space to be heard. This is where you can choose something radical. Instead of fighting the wake up, you can welcome it. You can choose to see this time as sacred space, not perfect, not convenient, but sacred. Because in this tender sliver of the night, something beautiful is possible. This is when your defenses are soft. This is when your mind is quieter, your heart more honest. This is when the truth isn't masked by busyness or buried beneath noise. You can sit with a glass of water and breathe. You can journal with no filter, just letting the ink catch your soul's quiet voice. You can rest your hand on your heart and ask, what's here right now? And sometimes that's all it takes to shift from agitation to awareness. This is where healing begins, not in the fixing or the analyzing, but in the witnessing, in the soft presence with yourself, in choosing to meet the moment with tenderness instead of tension. Because here's what's true. Healing doesn't always happen in therapy rooms or retreats. It happens in small, hidden moments like this one, in the dark, in the quiet, in the willingness to turn toward what's real. So the next time you wake up before the sun, heart open and unsure why, what if you didn't reach for your phone? What if you didn't fight it? What if you whispered, I'm here, I'm listening. What if you let the dark become a sanctuary instead of a struggle? Because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just you and the stillness and the knowing that even in the middle of the night, you are never alone and you are never too late to come home to yourself. Want to keep expanding the rest of the speech pieces like this too? I'm here for it. So you're awake again, dark, quiet. The clock reads 3:36 a.m. and there's a choice before you. You can slip into the old narrative. Not again. Why can't I just sleep? Or you can try something new, something softer, something sacred. Here are 5 simple soul-supporting practices for when the world is asleep, but you are awake. And maybe, just maybe, it's because something within you is ready to be met. 1, breathe deeply. Start here, always here. Not the shallow, automatic breath you take during the day, but intentional, soul-level breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, filling your belly. Hold for a moment. Exhale fully through your mouth, like a gentle release. Do it again. And again, breath is presence, breath is regulation, breath is a way of telling your body it's safe to be here. The breath anchors you in the now. It softens the nervous system. It says to your whole being, we're okay. We don't have to panic. We can listen. If nothing else, if you forget everything else, breathe. That alone is healing. 2, journal freely. Grab a pen, a napkin, if that's all you've got, and let the words pour out, messy, raw, unfiltered. Write what you feel. Write what you're afraid of. Write what you wish you could say to someone else or to yourself. His isn't about grammar or clarity or perfection. This is about truth. You're not writing for anyone else, Dodd. You're writing to give shape to the fog inside you. Sometimes the act of writing becomes the very mirror you need to see what's really going on beneath the surface. Doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be honest. 3, hydrate. It sounds small, but it matters. Your body has been quietly working all night, and waking at, especially from emotional restlessness, can be dehydrating. Pour yourself a glass of water, sip it slowly, feel it move through you. This isn't just about biology, it's about offering care. It's about saying, I see you, body. I'm here. Let me nourish you. There's something quietly beautiful about this small ritual of pausing in the dark, hand around a glass of cool water, reminding yourself that you are still here, still alive, still worthy of tending to. 4, dialogue matters, especially in the quiet hours, especially in the quiet hours. This is not the time for shame. This is not the time to scold yourself for being awake again. This is a time for compassion. You can place a hand on your chest and whisper things like, it's okay to be awake. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm allowed to feel this. I'm safe right now. Whatever I'm holding, I don't have to hold it alone. Speak to yourself the way you would to a small child who woke up crying in the night, with gentleness, with warmth, with the kind of grace we rarely give ourselves but desperately need. 5, that listen. Don't rush back to sleep. I know this one might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. Sometimes we treat our emotions like intruders, interruptions to the main goal of getting back to sleep. But what if this is the main goal? What if this moment, this stillness, this wakefulness isn't meant to be escaped? What if it's meant to be honored? Sit in the quiet for just a few minutes. Ask your heart, what do you need me to know right now? Don't rush. Don't try to fix. Just be there, present willing. Sometimes the healing is simply in the witnessing. And once that message has been heard, once that emotion has been named, your body will know. Sleep will return, but not because you forced it, because you listened. These 5 practices are not rules, they're invitations. You don't have to do them perfectly. You don't even have to do them all. They're here to remind you that these early hours can be something sacred, not something to resent, but something to receive. Because healing doesn't always arrive in the ways we expect. Sometimes it knocks gently on your door in the dark, whispering, "You're ready. Let's tend to this together." So, if you find yourself awake again between 3 and 5 a.m., heart heavy, thoughts spinning, unsure why, you are not lost. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are being invited to pause, to feel, to tend, invited to return to parts of yourself you've silenced in the daylight, invited to hear the whispers your soul has been patiently waiting to speak. This early morning wake up is not a problem to solve. It is not your body betraying you. It is your deeper wisdom asking for your presence. And yes, it may come with discomfort, with grief, with questions, with emotion that doesn't have neat edges. But it also comes bearing gifts, truth, clarity, and the kind of healing that only happens in stillness. You don't need to fix everything before the sun rises. You don't need to get it right. You simply need to be willing to stay open, to meet the moment with compassion. So the next time your eyes flutter open at 3:47 a.m., try this. Instead of frustration, offer gentleness. Instead of panic, offer breath. Instead of rushing back to sleep, offer presence. Light a candle in your heart if you have to, and whisper to yourself, "This moment is sacred. I am safe. I am listening." Because this quiet in between the hour might be the very place where you come home to yourself again. And that is not a disruption. That is a divine invitation.